Good evening, everyone. We're going to start the meeting at 6:02. This is the Columbus City Council regular meeting. And the first thing on the agenda is Pledge of Allegiance. If everybody stand. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Item 3 is the adoption of the agenda for tonight. Anybody want to make that motion?
This is Scott. I move to approve the April 9th, 2025 City Council agenda.
Nope, the agenda.
Updated agenda?
Just approving the council agenda, not the consent agenda,
And we'll go with that next.
Okay.
under A.
Do we have a second?
This is Jenny, I'll second.
Okay, we got a motion on the floor. It's been seconded. Any discussion? Hearing none, we'll call for a vote.
Rob, aye.
Janet, aye.
Scott, aye.
Jenny, aye.
And Ron, aye. We'll go to item B, is consent agenda. I'd just like to state that items 2 and 3 will be off the agenda tonight because of technical issues. There's only one on the consent agenda, is number 1, approval of bill payments. I'll make a motion. I move to approve the consent agenda as presented and the supplemental bill list, which is distributed to the council prior to the April 9th, 2025 meeting.
With the removal of 2 and 3.
What?
With the removal of item 2 and 3.
Yeah, with the removal of items 2 and 3.
It's Janet, I second.
Got a motion on the floor and seconded. Any other discussions? Questions?
Question on the spelling of supplemental, is that correct? To use?
I'm sorry, what?
The spelling of supplemental under 3,
That is not
we
correct.
need to correct that?
Somebody was dyslexic there.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
So do we need to make an amendment to
No, it's just noted.
grammar?
Typo note.
All right, noted then. I'll second if it hasn't been.
You're pretty good.
Okay, thank you.
So
We are fixated on that.
I know, it was a little like,
any other discussion? Any other misspellings? Commas? All right, we'll take a vote. Jennifer?
Jenny, aye.
Scott, aye.
Janet, aye.
Rob, aye.
And Ron, aye. Item C, presentations and items for the council action. We're first going to open up a public forum. Is there anybody out in the audience that'd like to make a comment? Nobody in the audience? Anybody on Zoom tonight would like to make a statement or ask a question or something? Seeing no hands, we'll close the public forum. Go on to item number 2 on B, and that's Lake and Crossways Drive Street Light Approval, pages 3-9. Jack?
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. City Council reviewed a request concerning the installation of a street light at the intersection of Lake Drive and
Recording in
Crossway
progress.
Drive at the February 24th, 2025 workshop meeting. As a result of that discussion, staff was directed to include this item for consideration on the February 12th, 2025 City Council agenda. At that meeting, Council directed staff to submit an application to Connexus for the design and installation costs of a street light at this intersection. The city received the installation quotes and agreements from Connexus for this project on March 31st, 2025. The outdoor lighting construction cost of $1,401 and the outdoor lighting energy and maintenance agreement for this location are exhibited as attachment 1 in your packet. The estimated cost for this project was $1,500. The project location is exhibited in attachment 2. Installing a street light at this intersection will greatly improve visibility and reduce the number of accidents that have occurred at this site. If this proposal is approved by City Council, adjoining property owners will be contacted to explain the improvement, and any impacts of the lighting created at this location would be addressed. Staff is requesting that council consider the approval of the outdoor lighting construction cost of $1,401 and the outdoor lighting and energy maintenance agreement for this project as presented in attachment 2.
We've talked about this before. Anybody have any questions, or we just make a motion?
I'll make the motion. So I move to approve the outdoor lighting construction cost of $1,401 and the outdoor lighting energy and maintenance agreement with Connexus for the Lake and Crossways Drive streetlight project.
Rob, I'll second.
Got a motion on the floor first and seconded. Any other discussion on this? Questions? Hearing none, we'll take a vote. Rob?
Rob, aye.
Janet, aye.
Scott, aye.
Jenny, I.
And Ron, aye. Item number 3 is a fund transfer, Fund 150 to Fund 403, pages 10 and 11.
The accounting department is requesting to transfer funds from Park Services Lawn Care to Park Equipment Capital Fund. This transfer is due to the contract with RVS not being renewed for the 2025 fiscal year. This change occurred after the 2025 budget was set and new bids for park lawn contracting services exceeded the budget and were not approved. The Public Works Department will be maintaining city parks and the equipment necessary to do so. The first request allows a transfer of $16,628.94 from Fund 150 to Fund 403. The second request is to process the invoice from Olson Power and Equipment in the amount of $16,628.94, along with the normal accounts payable on the Thursday, April 10th check run. A copy of the invoice from Olson Power Equipment is attached for your review.
Item number 3, I'll make the first motion. I move to approve the transfer of $16,628.94 from Fund 150 Parks to Fund 403. Do I have to put all those numbers in there?
No.
Thank you. Parks Capital.
This is Janet, I second.
We got a motion on the floor, and we got it seconded. Any questions? Any comments? Hearing none. Jenny?
Jenny, I.
Scott, aye.
Janet, aye.
And Rob, aye.
And Ron, aye. Motion number 2, I move to approve the payment of the Olson Power and Equipment invoice in the amount of $16,628.94 for the purchase of a Ferris 1SX 3300 mower with the normal accounts payable on Thursday, April 10th, 2025.
Rob, I'll second.
We got a motion. It's been seconded. Any comments, questions? Hearing none. Jenny?
Jenny, I.
Scott, aye.
Janet, aye.
Rob, aye.
And Ron, aye. We'll go to item number D, consultants. Engineers report. Brian?
Evening, Mayor and Council. The one item I just was going to report is I received an invitation to a meeting at Anoka County to discuss the Lake Boulevard Kettle River Roundabout project that is a federally aided project. I've shared that with city staff, so we'll arrange for who should attend that meeting that they'll be scheduling. It isn't scheduled yet. They're trying to find dates on the calendar, but just received it today, so we'll be working on that. Other than that, I didn't have anything else to report.
Can I ask a related question? Related to the presentation that we had by Anoka County here a month or so ago, has there been any follow-up on the other 2 road projects that they were talking about, the Lexington and the Potomac? I know there's kind of 2 things I have in mind. One was, I believe one of them was being funded, and maybe both of them were by federal dollars, and the certainty of whether those were still going to come through was sort of not known at the time. I was just wondering if there was any more information on that. And then the second was that we talked about our concern on the cost of the trails on the Lexington project, and I wondered whether or not there's an opportunity to have another dialogue with Anoka County on that before it gets too far down the road.
Actually, we had a meeting today with Karen Blaska and Jeff Peary with the Anoka County Parks Department. Jim, Aaron, and Eleanor and I met with them this afternoon, and they came to see if we were going to participate in the trail project on a cost share basis, and we told them no, that money was not in their budget, and the only thing that we could afford going forward were our obligations in these other road projects that were mandatory for us to participate in, and they were fine with that, but we told them no, we would not be participating in the trail project. They proposed a realignment of the trail now from the west side to the east side of the road. That would put all of it in Columbus from 185th Avenue to Broadway. That's the section that they're going to do first. So they informed us of that. We had a brief discussion, and they wanted to know if maybe we might be able to participate some in maintenance if it involved just some mowing occasionally. We said we would be open to discuss that. We did not commit to anything. We did say that if there was a JPA agreement in it, we wanted that to come from the county and the county administer it. So they were open to that. So we have declined the trail cost for the Lexington improvement, and we'd also declined the trail cost for that on the Potomac improvement. But we haven't had any further discussion as to what the schedule is. I think the Potomac one is probably the one that's farthest out. So we can reach out to them and kind of get a brief or an update to council at the next meeting.
Great, thank you.
Anything else? Hearing none. City Attorney, Bill?
Yes, Mr. Mayor and council members, tomorrow is a hearing in the House Bonding Committee. Your mayor and your deputy mayor will attend, along with our staff, provide brief testimony in support of the request for Hornsby. So that is moving forward. Glad to see that. You know, it would be nice to have, but it's not necessary to have a hearing in the Senate side. As long as we have one hearing, our oars in the water, and that means we're on one side of the bonding bill, and then
We actually did have one on the Senate side, but it was in, remember?
it was informational.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was in the wrong committee. It was in the Transportation Committee.
Well, I think they were trying to cover their bases. They were going to do it in both of them if they had to.
That's right. Thanks for that reminder. It was an informational meeting in transportation, so I guess technically we've been heard, we will be heard in both bodies by tomorrow at this time. So that's good news. With regard to the fiscal disparities amendment, I believe that's going to be deferred by our authors for another session. Just as we get into this session and, you know, all of the power sharing arrangements and so forth, there wasn't a strong feeling that that would make it through this session. So again, you know, we got bills introduced. There were some conversations with the county. So, you know, in some sense, the leadership knows that we're not going away, but we also defer to our authors on when it's best to move those bills forward. So good news that that we are being heard tomorrow, and we'll be well represented by your mayor and deputy mayor.
That it, Bill?
That's all I have.
Well, thank you. Thank you very much.
You're welcome.
Next one's Personnel
Mayor.
Committee report.
I think there's a question.
Oh,
Yeah, thanks, Mr. Mayor. Through the mayor to Bill, is that in regards to the 1.3 bonding bill?
The bonding amount is $762,000. Oh, you mean
Okay.
the
whole bonding bill as a whole, would it come out of that?
Yes,
That was
it would be.
proposed just last week?
correct.
Okay.
And who knows where that ends up in
Sure.
negotiations, but that's right. Council member will be part of that bonding request.
Okay.
I heard you on
So you did
NPR.
hear it? Yeah. No, I just wanted to share that I spoke in favor of it for a press conference last week, but I was going to do it during my council report since you're touching on it. So hoping to push it forward, and then, yeah, I'll save the rest for later.
Sounds good. Thank you.
Thanks.
thank you, Bill. Item number 4, Personnel Committee report.
Mayor and council report.
Oh, I forgot that one, yeah. We'll go to the council. How did I miss that one? Too many notes. Jenny, you have anything?
My only note was that I had a resident reach out because our neighboring city, Lino Lakes, noted that Highway 23 Lake Drive is going to be shut down before it meets 242, which would basically stop any traffic coming from Columbus. They did respond and note that that was going to be pushed out a few weeks, and they would have more information because there was really nothing posted, but all of a sudden there were signs up noting that Lake Drive was going to be closed. So just an update that the city of Lino Lakes did update that that was being pushed out, and they would follow up with more information.
Jennifer, was that just the section of Lake Drive that is in Lino? that's the only part that was going to be closed? Because I wondered the same thing. I saw the light up sign and wondered like, what the
Right.
heck?
Yeah, so the city, their city page didn't share any information. It was supposed to only be that small section, but they didn't have much planning and thought that went into that, it sounded like. And so obviously, it's a major concern for our residents as we try to get to 35W. But again, so I will send out an email if I see any additional information from Lino Lakes on that.
Mr. Mayor, I do have information from their city engineer, which is an actual press release. They don't have a date when they're going to close it yet, so I'm
Yeah.
still waiting to hear from them to confirm when they're going to close it, because I don't want to send out their press release before they send it out, because that wouldn't be very neighborly of us to send their information. So
Yeah.
the timing is where we're waiting on that one. So, but I do have it and ready to go on our social platforms.
Perfect, thank you.
Perfect, thank you.
Thanks, Aaron.
Yep.
Is that all, Jenny?
That is all.
Scott?
Nothing for me today.
I have a few things. First is that on April 3rd, we had a Sunrise River WMO meeting. Just a couple things to follow up with. All the cities approved the budget that was proposed. We saw it too, so that was unanimously approved. So that is going to be going in place for 2026. The proposed amendment to the JPA failed. Ham Lake said no, and it only takes one to say no to make it fail, so that did not go through. All that meant is that the part of the budget that talked about putting money aside for this update to the watershed plan would be allocated according to the formula that all the other non-operating expenses are, rather than split equally by 4. So the amount that was approved for the total budget doesn't change. We also had a public hearing on a proposed watershed plan amendment. This is an amendment that included a Linwood Lake tributary study, which was done, and we would be including that in the watershed plan as a guidance document. And what that allows us to do then is to apply for grants to further manage any sort of water quality issues in that lake, using that as documentation. So that process had to be done through approval by Bowser, and then having a public hearing, and then having the board adopt the amendment, which we did at that meeting. The third thing is that there was, last year there was a boundary adjustment between the Coon Creek Watershed District and Sunrise along one side of of Coon Lake, and all of the changes to the maps were made correctly, but there were 4 parcels of property that were not reassigned in the Anoka County tax tables. And so there was a concurrence document that we had to sign, or not, that we had to approve at our meeting, basically saying that we agreed with this, and then Coon Creek will work with Anoka County to get that changed. So it was only 4 very small parcels that would be moving from the Coon Creek Watershed District to the Sunrise District. Those property owners were notified of the mistake, and so that was just more of a record-keeping thing. And then for Jennifer, yes, Sunrise will be at Fall Fest. There'll be an exhibitor there. I'll ask Lori to send the form, and Jamie is checking on whether the turf extension exhibit, which is a University of Minnesota extension big trailer that they did 2 years ago and was really popular, if they would be available to come. So more on that when I hear that. I think the other thing I just wanted to mention quickly is we had a meeting yesterday with Tom Hunt, who is the Anoka County elections manager, director. I don't know exactly his title, but he's the go-to in Anoka County for all things elections. And so he came to talk to us because of the request that ASIT, the group that is the Anoka County Integrity Election Team, had asked us to follow up with him. Ideally, we wanted to have him come to a council meeting. There was some problem with that from his higher-ups, but he was willing to talk to us on a one-on-one basis. So spent some time talking about the poll pads and the issues that were brought up here by that group, and kind of hearing the county side of it. The take-home really is that there's a lot of this that's being dictated from the state down to the county, and some other interpretation that's being done by the county. But I think that we hit on a possible compromise that might help allay some fears or concerns, I should say, that ACEN has, and that would still work for the county, and he was open to those ideas, so I'm going to talk to Brenda Miller about those and see what her reaction is to it, and then maybe that's something that we could put in place for Columbus that really wouldn't affect the processing or the sort of automated back-end side of the elections, but I think would actually address their concerns about data security. And like I said, he was open to that idea, so we'll see where that goes. That's it for me.
Thank you, Janet. Rob?
Yeah, no, all I wanted to add to what I was talking to Bill about, after doing that press release, I was able to get a one-on-one meeting with Nolan West to talk about that bonding bill and know that we wanted it because possibly we would get something out of it. He obviously knew that, right? But just being in his office and having that one-on-one, I think helped push it. Asked about sports betting. He said it hasn't been a hot topic really this session, which I was surprised. I haven't been following it real closely, but the biggest thing was that I would be in favor of the bonding bill, knowing that we'd get some funding out of it. And I missed my meeting with Senator Kroon. He had a full office, so I passed on that one, being we just saw him recently. So, yeah.
Oh, well, thanks,
All I have to
Rob.
share.
The only thing I have to say is just what Bill said, that me and Janet are going down to try and get $762,000, convince some people to get that money tomorrow. So hopefully it's going to work out for us.
10,
We already
15?
paid those water credits, right?
We haven't paid them yet, but we've approved them, so we'll be getting a bill from Forest Lake here sometime in May.
Yeah, hold that check until after.
10, 15, is that when it starts, or is that when you testify?
That's when we testify.
Okay, sounds good. I'll do my best trying to.
All right, Personnel Committee report, Janet?
Really just letting you know that we continue to move forward on the compensation plan, revising the compensation plan. You guys heard from Mark in his presentation at the last workshop that we did. He has put the recommendations that came out of that in place, and we're going to be looking at the model on Tuesday next week. So I know there was a lot of information that was shared during that. So I'd invite you to go back and take a look at the PowerPoint presentation that he had, and if you have any questions or concerns or anything, other kinds of things that you want to share with us, please do it before Tuesday, and then we can pass it on to him, and we'll have him work that into the model. I think, Aaron, help me remember when we're scheduled to have that whole thing brought back to is it June?
Yes.
I think it's at
Beginning of June.
Yeah.
Yep.
So we've got some time, but it's moving ahead, which is pretty exciting.
Is that it?
Yes.
Well, thank you. I was looking at the Planning Commission report, but it's back to you again.
Here I am again. This is short and sweet. They had a pretty light meeting last week. It was the Love's site plan that came before them. Love's is planning to install 2 more islands of pumps, so it would be a total of 4 pumps on the end closest to the freeway. And so there was a lot of discussion. I think some of it was kind of informational. There were things that were brought up that were kind of outside the scope of a site review, but the Planning Commission, the Planning Commissioners all took the time to go out there and take a look at it, and that was good too. They had planned to carry that piece forward to their next meeting, and so we'll be looking for a recommendation from them after they meet again to discuss. And then they had an in-service on zoning, which Eleanor did a really nice job of putting together with some informational memos and things like that. So they spent some time just discussing that and kind of getting especially the newer members up to speed on what zoning is and the different kinds of applications and things like that.
Thank you, Janet. With item number 6, the Public Works Director, Jim.
I just want to say thank you for approving the money transfer because we have the mower in the public works. It might have been kind of hard not to.
Already trying to break it in?
So that's all I have, Mr.
Well, thank you. City Administrator's report.
We've had several inquiries lately on the city-owned property that's adjacent to and north of Caribou Coffee. This is the property that was the original site for the Harshenko Apollo apartment project. In the last 6 to 7 months, we've had 4 different inquiries. We have one now that's really a legitimate one. In order to carry this on any further, I'm requesting that City Council authorize me to engage an appraisal firm to get an appraisal on that property, so we'll have a negotiating or a starting price to begin further discussions with that. So with that, I would request a motion to approve an authorization from City Council to engage an appraisal for property PIN number 24322211-001 with Wade's Appraisal.
So one of us has to make the motion.
That's what I'm
All
requesting,
right.
yes.
I'll make the motion that we approve the monies for the property appraisal for PIN 24-32-22-11-0011. Anything else I missed on that?
No, you got one other thing I left out. The cost of this will be approximately $1,200.
And the cost is
And
$1,200.
it would be paid for, it'll eventually be charged to property for resale on the property and be reimbursed back to the general fund when the property's sold.
Okay.
So I second it. This is Janet.
All right, so we got a motion on the floor. It was seconded. Any other discussion or question? Rob?
Yeah, Mr. Mayor, to Jack, when was the last time? It must have been a while ago that we got that appraised, probably before the Ebert proposal.
We haven't had this one appraised. We had the other one across the highway north of there appraised. The last appraisal on this one was probably done prior to the purchase agreement signed by Harshenko in 2021. So that appraisal was $800,000.
Okay.
And it's been 4 years, so I'm sure that values have changed significantly since then.
I would imagine so. Thank you.
Any other discussion? Well, we got a motion, second it. We'll take a vote. Rob?
Rob, aye?
Janet, I.
Scott, aye.
Jenny, I.
And Ron, aye. That's the end of that section. Let's go to announcements and reminders. EDA workshop and regular meeting, April 15th, 2025 at 5:30 p.m. The Planning Commission meeting, April 16th, 2025 at 6 p.m. The Local Board of Appeals and Equalization is April 17th, 2025 at 6 p.m. City Council meeting, the next one will be April 23rd, 2025 at 6 p.m. And not on the agenda, but this Sunday on the 13th is the Lions Pancake Breakfast, 8 to 1. We'll go to item number F. Anybody wants to make?
Can I ask a question first?
Sure.
Related to the Local Board of Appeals and Equalization. Normally, we get a report from the county in advance of that. Do you know, are we going to get that?
I will contact Alex to see where that is.
And do you know if there's been any,
There have been no calls into City Hall regarding that.
you can maybe ask Alex if they've been fielding any too, but it's always really helpful to have that report because it's got all the market value information and it's really helpful.
I did
I
get.
agree. I was thinking
I
the
did
same
get
thing.
2 calls on that, wondering when it was. So,
Oh, the local board?
some constituents
Oh.
wanted. I told them that they should call Alex first before.
Yes.
Yes.
I don't know if they did or not.
Okay.
We'll see come Thursday night. Anybody want to make a motion to adjourn?
It's Rob Bush. I'll make a motion to adjourn.
This is Janet, I second.
Got a motion on the floor. Any discussion, any questions? Nothing? Jenny?
Jenny, I.
Scott, aye.
Janet, I.
Rob, aye.
And Ron, I also. It's time is 6:31. We're going to end the meeting. Thank you all for coming. Appreciate it.
Is that a new record?